Good morning, Savannah. Hey, this is Jim from Savannah. Been driving here in Savannah since about 3 months after Uber first came into Savannah, and been driving for Lyft since day one. So, been at this for a little while, but I got a little bit of advice or information about the new dollar surge. I put another video out on this a few months ago when it first came out and had some misunderstandings about it, and I just wanted to really clear the air so that people can understand exactly what it is that the new surge does, because there have been some misconceptions, there have been some changes, and honestly I don't know how much Uber even sticks to the rules himself. But anyway, this is the new surge as I understand it. So, as most of you all who have been doing this for over a year know, Uber used to put out a multiplier surge, 1.2x, 1.4x, 3x, and even at one point they even had 9.9x. This was like 4 years ago for New Year's Eve, and I think that happened like once in this area, maybe twice. But anyway, since then it's always been a multiplier surge. If you pick up somebody in the surge zone while it's active, then basically the fare that you receive is going to be multiplied by that multiplication factor that they've mentioned. So, the new surge and what everybody sees on their app today is a dollar amount. So you'll see this big red blob with a big number in the middle, and it'll say something like $1.50 or $2 or $5 or $10. That is what we call now the dollar surge. Now, the dollar surge works in a very, very different way than the way that the old surge worked. And the idea behind it from Uber is that they wanted to be able to help drivers, if you can believe that, by being able to cash in on surges for a longer period of time. So what they've done is they've said, if you drive through an area that is actively surging, and if you don't get a ride, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a minimum amount of money for your next pickup. And so that's what the dollar surge is. So now it is progressive. The closer you get to the center of the red dot, the higher and closer to that full dollar amount you'll receive on your next ride as a minimum. Now, when I say your next ride, if you log off or if you refuse a ride or if you cancel a ride, that could go away. I'm not exactly 100% sure about what all the rules for that are, but that's my understanding. Definitely, if you log off, for example, to take a Lyft ride, then when you log back on, you're not going to have that dollar amount for your next ride. So that's just something to keep in mind. But it's kind of like a Pac-Man game. If you're going from the east side of Savannah to the west side of Savannah, downtown says it's surging at $10, and you go down Bay Street, as you get closer to the red blob, it'll say your next ride will have a minimum surge, and it'll start counting up. It'll say $1, $2, $3, $4, and then when you get to the center, maybe $10 or whatever the maximum surge is for that particular moment in time. So that's great, especially if your next ride is going to be a really, really short ride. Say you get a minimum fare ride and it's $2.80 or $2.72. Well, then you add $10 to that. Wow, that's like a 3.5 time multiplier, right? So for short rides, it'll be fantastic. But then you get that ride from Garden City to Hinesville or something like that. Well, guess what? You're only going to get $10 more, or whatever the maximum you earned is. You're not going to get any more than that. You're not going to get a multiplier. Now, the multiplier surge is still in effect, and I think that that's something that a lot of people don't quite understand yet. The multiplier surge is still in effect only when the red blob is actually active and you pick up somebody from inside the actual surge zone. So, for example, like I said, if you're going from East Savannah to West Savannah and the middle of downtown is surging at $10, that could be like a 5 times multiplier. And so whenever you pick up somebody from downtown Savannah, you'll actually get a multiplier surge. And whichever is more, either the surge rate or the dollar amount, whichever is higher, you're going to get that surge added to your fare. So, one of the big things that's really confusing in all this, that is almost impossible to predict or to track, is nobody tells you what that multiplier is. You don't know what the passengers pay until after your ride has been reconciled and you see it on your trip earnings. So anyway, it shows up on your trip earnings as, here is a good portion of the additional surge amount that the passenger paid. Well, with upfront pricing, they can say whatever they want and they can pay you whatever they want, and it's really still kind of crappy, but it's not as bad as what a lot of other people think. So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up a little bit because there have been some miscommunication and some misunderstandings. There are other little nuances to this dollar surge that are just not even worth talking about right now. I'm going to leave my other video up because it does address some of those little caveats and, just something to think about. So anyway, this is Jim signing off. I hope this video was useful to you. If you like it, hit the thumbs up button because I don't do very many of these and nobody cares, but I do. And I love Savannah, and I love driving Uber and Lyft. Oh, by the way, speaking of Lyft, I think Lyft works about the same way. I just haven't had enough primetime rides on Lyft to verify. So if anybody can add in the comments what their experiences are, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, Savannah. Keep driving.